Hello, hello, hello. What is going on? Welcome back to Tripping Through the Stars. I am Jack Childress. That is A.L. White. We just call him Tony. We got our boy from the UK, Nick Plumridge, with us this week. But before we get started, I just want to give a quick shout out to everyone celebrating Memorial Day this holiday weekend over here stateside, remembering all those men and women that gave their lives to ensure that three knuckleheads like this could sit down and talk science fiction and zombies and God only knows what else and entertain you guys to the best of our abilities, or at least try to. So, without further ado, from across the pond, Nick Plumridge, how are you doing, my brother? Well, Nick James, bitch. Should we get it right? Well, what's happening over there,
Yeah,
man?
I'm all not a lot, not a lot. We've actually got some sunshine, so we're happy. We may have our summer. Who knows how long it will last, but it's
Hey,
here.
take it while you can, take it when you can get it and embrace
Exactly. I may take a photo, it lasts longer.
it. Exactly. Exactly. So, man, what have you been working on here lately?
Well, I'm on writing the last few chapters of my third term time travel book, uh, Time Travel Tourist series. I think I'm on chapter 28 of 30. Well, I say 30, I always plan for 30 chapters, but it never ends up as that. You always end up seeing where the story grows. You may, I always try and do like a bullet points for each chapter. I don't, do a lot of information. I write it down what I would like that chapter to be. And then I start writing it, and then I lose my way. My brain just goes, has a brain fart, and you just go off at a tangent, and then you have to replan it all over again. So I say 30, that's my goal, 30 chapters, but it could be 32, 33, 35. Who knows? But that's what I'm working on as we speak.
So, when did you start going with the notion of 30 chapters? Did you always do that, or is it something you just thought of later on in your writing?
Uh, when I when I wrote the first time travel book, I did like 5,000 words per chapter. So it was like about 20 chapters, and I thought, oh, it's over 100,000 words. And I think that's good for a novel, not too many that you kind of get bored of it, and not that it's a quick read. But I just found that maybe 5,000 words per chapter was a little bit too long, especially when I listened it back on audiobook. It kind of went on and on and on, and you need that chapter just to break it up a little bit for the reader, I think, so they can reset and go, okay, a new scene. So that's when I changed my mind, like doing about 3,000, per chapter. And then that's how I work it out. As long as I get over 100,000 words, I'm happy, but it all depends on the book. Like Lost in the Code and the zombie books and stuff like that. I think they're about 90,000, but that's the nature of the beast. That's as far as the book went. You don't want to stretch the book out for no apparent reason, you know. So I just tend to do about 3,500 words per chapter, and it will either keep going and going and going, or you reach a point and you go, I think that's enough. I'll stop there.
Do you find that hard to do that? I mean, a chapter can be three sentences. All it has to do is get you from the previous chapter to the next one. I
Yeah.
could never give myself a limit on the words per chapter. So I'm amazed. I'm actually might try this. Um,
Yeah, even sometimes I have kind of reached the like 25,000, 2,500 word chapter and gone, yeah,
yeah, it's
I
time
can't
to move to
stretch
the
it out.
next
Yeah,
section.
when I do say, that's what I try to do. My ideal thing is
Okay.
3,500, but obviously that's flexible because I've done it less and I've done it more where you've got to reach the scene and you started it
Yeah,
at
you got
like
to get to that next
25.
point, and
It
yeah,
just keeps on going. When you're writing, it's the book is an animal. It just
yeah,
keeps on
yes.
growing, and you don't can't rein it back in You just got to let it go. Sometimes I have done it, and then when my wife's read it, she's gone, no. So she's chopped and changed chapters, moved
I
them
get the same
around.
thing here.
Well, my brain can't be trusted
Right.
because you know exactly what you mean to every word you write, and
Right.
somebody else who reads it may go, "What the bloody hell are you talking about?"
Where was he going? Yeah.
And I'm dyslexic as well, so sometimes I'm writing away and I'm happy with it, and my wife brings it back and goes, "You're gonna have to rewrite that. Read it properly." And sometimes what I do on the words is the document will read it back to audio, so I can actually follow the words with my eye and listen to it talk back, and then I can go, "Yeah, I was talking bollocks there."
Yeah,
That's
that's
when I'm writing. Are you?
Oh, I was gonna just ask
Like,
you, do you ever write any of your chapters like out of order? Like you have a thought on something, but it's further down the line, but you don't want to really lose it, so you just go ahead and start working on it and then go back and try to tie it together?
no, I just have write the little bullet points on a little pad.
Yeah.
So if I know a scene, I'll go, "Oh yeah, right." But I love starting stories. It's the middle and the ending I always struggle with. If when I start a book, I always know the start and I kind of know the ending. But anybody who writes a book, the whole big lump in the middle is the difficult bit when you want everything to play out, and then at the end you want it to bring it all back, and then suddenly, and if you haven't done that, but me, it's just like I know if there's a story I like to write, I have an idea, whether it's sitting on the carsy, driving, watching TV. If I have an idea for a new book, I'll sit down and write the first few chapters, and then it will sit there. If I really like the story, then I continue it. But I've got on my computer, there's like about 25 different stories I've started. There's nothing there to grab me to continue it yet. When I've run out of ideas for something, I may go, "Oh, I'll read that again." And I go, "Oh, I think I started one about a like an old age ninja in his late 40s, and he wanted to go back to work, but he had no thumbs, which made it tricky." I kind of started writing that, and I asked my wife about it, and she said no, just no, not in this world as it is. You just can't. There'd be too many people asking for my head.
Yeah.
So,
Oh, it sounds pretty fascinating to me, actually. That would be pretty damn funny.
yeah. But what we think is funny, and other people, you've got to be so careful, which is
Yep.
so wrong. We should be able to write whatever, as long as it's not really evil, like a manifesto, follow me, I am the new Messiah. You should be able to, within reason, write what you want to write.
Yeah.
But everybody wants a voice now, and if you get too many people singing from the same hymn tune, that could be your career over.
Yeah. Yeah. And seen a little bit of that over the past couple of years, with people just getting attacked for no damn reason. And in other cases, some of them are getting attacked for a good reason. But anyway, it's like, I mean, the whole cancel culture world, that needs to go away. If anything needs to be canceled, it's cancel culture. That
Yeah,
needs to just go away. Let people do what they want to do. Let us be free.
yeah.
Well, now
Well,
since we're, oh, go ahead, Tom.
and I'll just say this because you're across the pond from us, a big pond. You would never have Monty Python or Benny Hill nowadays.
Oh no,
They would never make it on TV. So
no. I think John Cleese, even now, I think there's a stage show of
yeah, he got
Life of
there
Brian.
was a big thing about something. Yeah.
Yeah, about the the terrorist organization where one of them wants to be a woman.
Right. Yes.
They wanted that changed, and they went, "No, you can't. It's funny. It's
Yeah.
only unfunny if you just take it personally,
Right.
take
Right.
it out of context." And he said, "I'm not changing it. Why should I?
And I
It was
agree with
written."
you. I mean,
Yeah,
Like even think about, back in the 70s and 80s, the comedians that we had, Richard Pryor, Eddie Murphy,
Yeah,
uh,
Richard Pryor wouldn't make it nowadays.
No.
Or
even
Eddie
even
Murphy.
even Robin Williams to some degree would
Yeah.
would struggle to be out there, because everybody just wants to tell you how to think, how to walk, how to drink, how to eat, what to do. And it's terrible. But on to a lighter note, since we are on a sci-fi show, let's get into some of your sci-fi, bud. Now, this is a question I have because, in my opinion, the answer is yes. But we'll see what you guys think. Lost in the Code, video game themed. Did you consider this sci-fi lit RPG when you wrote it?
I don't know what I was thinking when I wrote it. I just wanted to laugh. I just wanted to write about a computer game because we've always dreamed of, since Tron in is it the 80s, Tron?
Yeah.
Always envisaged maybe what happened if you got pulled into a computer game. And I just wanted something where the main character just got pulled into a computer game, whether he wanted to or not. And somehow he managed to survive-ish.
Ish.
Yeah.
But that kind of genre, it's just the whole game genre is funny, but sometimes they go into do too many details, like the points, strength points, and you can read a book where you got 2 pages of just statistics, and it's just like, I get a bit bored of that. But that's just me. That's why I didn't have that in my book. I just had, it was like a beta game, so it was on a startup, so you didn't have all the characteristics of a normal game, statistics of a normal game, where your strength, your character, your health, wealth, and stuff. Because I just, after a while, that if you're having that every time he does something good, you're just going to get bored of it. So that's why I just didn't write it in.
Right.
Well,
They
that's
don't have that in Tron either, so.
No, exactly. But that's just my point of view.
Right.
I'm sure there's a lot of people out there who love all the statistics, but from my point of view, I just like to read a story.
Yeah.
So that's just
exactly. Now, the time traveling tourist, we can call that science fiction for sure, right?
Oh yeah. Well, I don't know of any time travel machines at the moment.
Yeah, no science fact at the point.
Yeah, but I have an email from somebody complaining that I haven't explained how time travel is done. How is it done? And I went, to be honest, I said, I don't know. I will give you what I think, but I don't know. If I say something, you're just going to say, well, that's not how it's done.
Right.
But you don't know how it's done. So that's why when I wrote it as a bit like what zombie apocalypse, Lost in the Code. The main character doesn't know how he's doing this.
Right.
He just found a machine from his favorite author, who was a sci-fi author who writes about time travel, and he buys all his. The author supposedly dies, so he has an estate sale. So he buys everything up because he's a number 1 fan, and it ends up he'll have a computer there and all these books of how to time travel, and it's just like, and that's how he starts doing it. He doesn't know how he's doing it.
Right.
He doesn't know how the author has done it, but people want a lot of the details. Why? But it's a non-technical book. It's about a man who falls into a situation and enjoys himself. It does go a bit bent at times, but he enjoys himself. So is the technical details are thin, to say the least.
Well, and plus, when you go too technical, then you're going into hard sci-fi.
Yes,
and I like soft sci-fi. It's my world, and I'm sure you feel the same. You could do what you want in your world as long as you're consistent.
Exactly, because I don't know much about quantum physics. I'll hold my hand up. I'm surprised I managed to say it. And it's just like, there's no point in just like there are some hard science fiction books out there, like the Andy Weir books and stuff
Right.
like that, and that's good. But he used to work for NASA,
Right, right,
but that gives you an instant leg up, doesn't it?
right.
Because you
Yes.
know all that stuff. Me, I've spent all my life working in warehouses, and we don't have much to do with rockets and stuff like that. So it's just like a lot of the time I just like to have the main character as a normal bloke who just falls into a situation. He's over his head, but he just goes with it anyway.
Right. Yeah, I like that myself too. So you're on Audible
Yes.
and you have your regular books. We were just discussing this a couple of days ago, how it's just two different markets. I mean, the people buying your Audible books are completely different than the ones buying a Kindle or a digital download. To me, everybody should be doing both.
Yes.
Just why you don't want to give part of the market away and say, oh, here, no, we don't want this. I think Jack has only listened to my books on Audible, as far as I know.
Yeah, it's that's pretty much, I'd say 90 to 95% of how I consume books these days is through Audible. And I have the advantage of having, well, advantage slash disadvantage of having a fairly long drive to and from work. So I can get a lot of time in there, and working where I do, it's just me and one other guy. So I can ride around with
And
a speaker and just listen all day, you know?
and if you've worked in warehouses, Nick, then that's pretty much the three of us.
Yeah.
I do IT in a warehouse and put up with people like Jack bothering me all the time. But while I'm doing that, that's when I listen to mine.
Yeah.
In one ear, and then I get my calls on my work phone in my other ear.
Oh yeah, I love audio books, and I hate what they're doing it with the AI voices now.
Yeah,
You really need a good character actor, voiceover actor to do your
right.
audio book, because the AIs are just awful. I just
Well, the
don't see why
production
they.
value of yours is fantastic. I mean, your narrator, beastly, just really damn good.
Yeah, I'm getting my at some point my time travel first book is going to be rewritten a little bit, because I've never been perfectly happy with it. Because we used an editor who worked on What Zombie Apocalypse, and she did a wonderful job. So I gave her the first time travel book, and she just didn't do a good job.
Hmm.
But the money was tight, and I just went with it, hoping. And I expected it to do like the other books beforehand, but the time travel one just kind of took off, and it was just like, oh shit, I can't, I can't rewrite it now because it's like really popular and selling. And it's like, oh, then I did the second one, and now I'm like on the third one. I'm going to, once I've finished the third one and sent it off to the editor, I'm going to just not rewrite, is just tweak it. All the bits I don't like of it, tweak it, just to get it back to the way it should be and get it re-edited by a competent editor. And then I will get the audiobooks redone, because I like the voiceover actor who did it, but all of audiobooks has moved on so much since the first one got. I know it's only been like 3-4 years, but the quality of narrators have moved on so much since then.
Yeah.
You've got to keep people interested, and his vocal talents were good at the time, but now they seem to be lacking,
Okay.
which is, I feel bad for doing it, but in the end, it's business. And the time travel thing is my number one seller on Kindle and audiobook. So I need to give them the best quality I can. And if that means getting it redone, I shall.
Now, if you ever
I haven't told
got
him
in a
yet.
position to do so, um, would you ever consider adding sound effects to your audiobooks?
No, I've never been a fan of that.
Hmm.
I tried it with Craig Allenson. Oh, what's the books? Oh, bugger, I can't remember his name.
Now, the ones that I've listened to with sound effects that I did enjoy was like the Star Wars stuff. You know, you can
Yeah.
actually hear the lightsabers and the blasters and even the ships flying. You know, that was pretty cool. But there's others I've listened to where the sounds were maybe a little intrusive, like even like maybe when they were recording it, they were making the sound effects too loud in relation to the voice of the narrator that was reading the book. But Star Wars did a good job of that.
Seems to me like that would be like I'm listening to a 1920s radio show. If you have the sound effects, I can picture somebody with their shoes going.
You know, I think that is kind of how they do it. You
But
know,
yeah, thing is, if you're going to do it, you have to do it really well. But there's too many people who say, "Oh, I can do it," and then it's too late. Once it's out,
Right.
you've only got really one chance to get it right, because otherwise, it does cost a lot of money to produce a audio book, and you want to make sure you get it done right the first time. What I was saying about Craig Allenson book, oh god, Expeditionary Force,
oh,
that
okay.
series. Yeah, he did a special off one with all top flight actors where you had multiple different actors doing multiple voices with sound effects and everything, and it sounded okay, but the sound effects were too loud and they were bleeding out the actors,
Yeah, I would.
and that was just sounded awful in the end. And you could buy two different copies then, the one with the sound effects and one without. So I just went with the sound without in the end. So
Well,
it's a you just got to make sure you do your homework if you're going to do something like that. Me, I'm not a fan, so you know, I just keep it like somebody's telling you a story, and that's what I like.
That's what I like. I
Yeah.
thinking about it now. I don't even know. Do they have sound effects in my books, Jack? I can't remember.
no, you did have sound effects in yours.
Okay, good.
Yeah,
I
the
was
last
starting to
thing,
get worried.
yeah, the last thing I listened to that they did the full blown production was Damon Manx and Mark Towles. They put out that Arcranium, and they've got different actor for each character, but there's just a handful of characters. So it's not like you got an ensemble cast. And then they have the sound
Now
effects
that
to
I
go
think
along
would
with
be cool.
Hmm.
That I think I would be cool if you had a different actor for each character. But you know, if they're playing baseball and they hit a ball, I don't want to hear the connection of the ball and the bat.
Right.
You know, or they're standing on a street. I don't want to hear buses and horns going by. So
Could be a
I think
mix.
the only sound effect I had in my book is I think Lost in the Code. The narrator burped when I wrote burp. You know, when he belched, he did it for real, and it was like, oh, fantastic. And he did an excellent Donald Trump voice ever, because I wanted there was one of the characters is a managing director, a real, you know, beast of a man, and I asked him to do Donald Trump's voice, and he did it perfectly. You know,
And that is really
yeah,
well done. And of course, you know, because I'm, you know, me, I wound up in that book and he did a damn good job. I gotta say, he
yeah,
did a real good job with my voice. I was
yeah,
like, hey.
yeah. He's from Texas. That one. He did Lost in the Code and What Fresh Hell Is This?
Oh, I love that. Oh, I love that. And give
Yeah.
everybody a breakdown of what that one's about, because that right there is some unique storytelling.
It's about the boatman of Hell, Hades, and he wanted to retire. So he went and asked the devil if he could retire, and the devil said, "Well, you've been doing this a long time now, as have I, but you can only retire if you have somebody to take over your job." And it's about him going to get his replacement. that shares his bloodline. You know, obviously all these demons, they have multiple, heirs and that they, just in case they want body parts or something like that. So he had multiple people who he wanted to be his heir, but in the end, only one could actually be it. And obviously, he didn't want to be the boatman in hell to ferry souls to the different levels of hell. So it was about him and his friend just basically fighting back, but then they got basically forced to do it while Charon, the boatman, went up on Earth and tried to enjoy his life being a farmer in New England. But while his heir was ballsing up his job by letting souls escape instead of doing his job, his friend was letting because his friend suddenly realized what he was doing because he was a party animal. He liked drugs and drink and everything like that. And he just thought it was a pleasure cruise. And then suddenly he got explained to that, no, we're ferrying these people to their last resting places on different levels of hell. And he didn't like that. He couldn't manage it. So he found out he was sneaking people away from the actual boat back into the real world, even though they're dead. And that's where you got into trouble because obviously he wasn't, once people found out what he was doing, it wasn't just normal people he was smuggling, it was really bad people, sometimes coerced him into. And so it was like, Charon got called back saying, your boy's messing up, you got to go back and sort him out and get all those souls back. So it was all about that. And it was a fun book. I know Dungeon Dan loved it, and he keeps on sending me a message to do a sequel. But
Okay.
yeah, but how many times can you keep on hearing, oh, when's the sequel for this? When your sequel to... I made a mistake when I first started writing. I just wanted to write whatever I wanted. So I wrote one genre, wrote a different genre, single books. And then I kept on getting emails going, oh, when's the sequel for this? When's the sequel for that? And it just ran out of time that everybody wants a sequel.
Yeah.
Well, see, that goes
And,
to show you, though, you've written like characters that people can get into because they want more of
Yeah.
that character. It's like, okay, that was fun. What else are we going to go do with them? Let's go send them to Mars or something. Let's go play.
That's the trouble, they can read your book in 2 days, sometimes one day, and then they want the sequel. They don't, I'm sure they understand really, but they don't quite grasp it, that it could take up to 6 months
Yeah.
to do another book. Because we all have other lives, we're not, writing 24/7. I
Right.
know I say like, oh, I can, one chapter is 3,500 words. I can do that in a day. But you really can't do that in a day. You can't do that a day every single day.
Right.
Because you just can't. Your brain will just explode, and life gets in the way.
Yeah, even
Yeah,
that
life
maniac
to do
Angel
that.
Ramon can't write like that every day. That dude's a machine.
No. Yeah.
So no, I just I'm gonna stay on what fresh hell is this. Do you remember where you were or what you were doing when that idea popped in your head? Because I've never read anything like that. That's just
Yeah,
very
not a clue, mate. It just they just turn up. Like I said earlier, it's just like you could be just on the toilet, going driving. You watch like TV programs or a Walt Disney film, and there could be something that you find entertaining. Like I can't remember Hercules in Walt Disney. They talk about Hades, the god of the underworld, and stuff like that. And it's something you store it all in your brain. And then suddenly you could be just doing something else, something rudimentary, and just like, oh, that'd be funny. What happens if you wanted to? Would you be able to retire if you're a demon that you've been in hell since the Garden of Eden? Before
Right.
then, would you be able to say, do you know what? I've had enough. I want to retire. Is that all right? And then you've got the angels. What is heaven going to think? you know, having a demon deciding to become a farmer in New England. You know, like you can't let that guy go. So, but to be honest, from you know, I don't know where these ideas come from. They just pop up. I write a couple of chapters, and if they're good, I run with it. Well, if I think they're good, I'll run with it. Then I show it to my wife, and if it doesn't sound good, then she just says, "Put it on the back burner, love."
Hey, it's good to have a
Which a lot
sounding
of the
board.
time, well, a lot of the time she's right. 95% of the time she's right, and the other 5% of the time I won't tell her.
Safer that way.
Yeah, no doubt. Well, moving on to the book that I first got introduced to you through, What Zombie Apocalypse, which I see people comment on certain books that have humor in them as being like laugh out loud funny and whatnot. And I've checked out some of those books and, I've smiled at points and all that. That one legitimately is laugh out loud funny. Like I've been in traffic. I know people have looked over at me when I was listening to that, thinking, what in the hell is this guy listening to? Because I'm just over there just laughing. So, Tony the Terrible, how did you create this character? I mean, because I know you like, games and, such like that, but man, you made him almost to the point where if you told me he was a real person in real life, I could believe it.
He's just a mixture of lost souls, you know. Could be part of him's me, part of him's people I've grown up with, and and things like that. It's just like I just wanted him to be such a loser, not a loser. He's nice enough, but I don't know. He just couldn't get on in life. He was lazy. He wanted to do what he wanted to do, you know. So when that event happened, for some reason, he just stumbled through the whole thing. And but that character, I just love him to bits, you know. And I will. There'll be another Tony the Terrible event where he's going to fall into with Olga,
Yay.
you know. So, but he's just an amalgamation of different people. Some of it me, some of it, from people I grew up with, you know. So, but like a lot of the characters, I'm sure people write, you take them from people you meet on the way to the grave, you know. You see a funny bloke in the pub, you'll store his character away for another time, but you maybe not him specifically. It'll be him and another bloke. You won't move them together, and you got a good character, you know. So, because I don't like to write specifically one person. Like Jack, I did with you because I said I was going to write you as a character. But if anybody else, was going to, if I had to pick somebody else on the street, I'd mailed him with another character, so you wouldn't really know it was him.
Right.
Because you don't want to insult people. If the character turns out to be an idiot, or I mean, you don't want them coming back to you saying you wrote me as the right twat. And it's just like, well, no, didn't mean to. It's just like you're naturally a twat.
Yeah.
So you're just trying to, camouflage them with somebody else. But you, Jack, are just comedy gold. You gave me a lot to work with.
Yeah, I've gotten that a lot between you, J.S. Patrick, Richard Rose, write me in as the Bear Baron and Wild Eyed Southern Boys. And the one common theme that seemed to always come along was my scraggly beard or my tobacco stained teeth. That's like always part of the books. It didn't matter who was writing them. It's like that was there. And I'm like, well, I can't really bitch because it's accurate. So what are you gonna do? But it's really cool the level of sense of humor you're able to bring into your books. Like I try to be funny in real life, and apparently I succeed sometimes. But when I'm sitting writing, I can't get it to go on the page. I can't get funny to go there. And I'm currently trying to write a Domino short story that's not horror. I'm not even going to have any cuss words in it. That way a kid could read it if they wanted to. And I'm going to try to play it out like a Looney Tunes bit, the whole Bugs Bunny and Wile E. Coyote and all that. And I'm just like, I don't know if I can do this. I don't know if I can be funny like
Hmm.
that. And you, my man, you are a master of it. So when
Yeah.
you first got
I wouldn't
into,
say master.
hmm, but
I
when you
wouldn't say master.
I would. I would. Like I said, remember the Looney Tune guy riding down the road in his pickup truck
Yeah,
laughing out loud while people stare at him. So,
yeah,
yeah, very funny stuff. And if anybody, I'm telling you guys, if you need a good laugh, something that's going to keep you engaged, whether you're reading it or listening to it, or as Tony said, do both. Have your Kindle open while you're listening to the audiobook. That way you can see the words, know how to spell the names, and be able to hear the great narration. You will love Nick's books, every last one of them. There is not a stinker in the bunch. And before I completely friggin' forget, because somehow with everything else you've written, it seems to kind of get overlooked, is They Are Among Us. That
yeah,
thing was good, but it wasn't like what I normally expect from you. You know, I'm expecting all the punchlines and the pratfalls, and it's a lot more serious.
yeah. I love that book, but not many other people did.
That's why we got to get people to get out there and grab it
It,
because
it
it's
was
really good.
unfortunate. Yeah, I loved it. Don't get me wrong. Uh, but as soon as I published it, I got the book here.
Great cover, dude. That is a
Yeah,
cool.
great cover. But a certain demographic thought it was a manifesto. They thought it was a true life manuscript of what I thought was happening in this world. And it didn't matter how many times I told them it is science fiction. There's no fact. If there is any fact, I don't know about it. It's just about an alien being who's using human beings to infect uh, other human beings by injecting serum, uh, some kind of drug, into fetuses, which is nasty. But it had to be said. So they can corrupt the fetus at a young age, so they are brought up looking a certain way. That's the kind of byproduct. They all look a certain way, so it's all they all look alike. But because, and that's set in America, because your country's so vast anyway, it wouldn't matter if there was like a thousand people that looked alike. Because they're all spread out, you wouldn't notice them. But people, it's just, I had plans, three books. They stand among us, they stand with us, and then they stand against us. And I had it all planned out. But unfortunately, the sales just never came. You know, the reviews are good, the ratings were okay, but the sale it just wasn't. You know, and my time travel one was going up there. So instead of no offense, not wasting my time, but taking my time to write the other
Right.
two books, I focused on something that is a lot more popular. I will go back and finish it because it's hanging over my head, and I want to finish it. It'll be a wonderful, not wonderful. It'll be horrific, but it'll be a good story. But even then, there's funny bits in there. It was just like true life. It's like even when you're at your lowest, you can still have a laugh. I'm sure if like you're at a funeral and stuff like that, when you're at your lowest point, there's always somebody there you can have a laugh with, and something you see is funny. And that's what I try and do in my books. Even if the most serious points, you can have a laugh. And as long as, if I'm laughing, I'm happy. And if other people laugh at it, I'm even more happy, even happier. That's why I just try a lot of my books, like the What Zombie Apocalypse, my first one. Even now, my wife and I listen to that when we go driving somewhere. You know, it's just because it just makes us raw. And the bloke who narrated it is just fantastic. So he's just spot on. Yeah, but I would like to finish writing that, and I'm sure I will in the next few years. But at the moment in time, my focus has to go in the things that are really popular. People want me to write. So, but I'm sure you're like that as well, Tony. You know,
Oh,
you
yeah.
have your popular books, so you've got to really be selfish and focus on those.
Yeah, because you have what I call your baby that you thought was going to do great, and maybe Jack's the only one that likes it. And you want to write like three more of them, but it's like, well, yeah, not really. We'll move on to this and go with that. No, I got you. I mean, and it's surprising at what becomes popular and what you thought was going to become popular. Um,
Yeah,
and you're like, wow, this is right to market. This is, and then it doesn't do bad, but it doesn't take off like you thought.
yeah. It's just a, and the narrator I got for the Stand Among Us was fantastic as well. It's just and the sales just didn't come. And I know I don't want to be money orientated, but unfortunately, everything costs money to create. And if the money's not coming in, you can't spend it
Right.
out.
Right.
So something's got to give.
Oh yeah, because you got to. Well, for me, you got to pay for editing. Now I'm paying for book covers. You
Yeah.
can't just. You got to justify it somewhere. Well, I don't, but my wife likes it
Yeah.
justified. So
Yeah, got to keep mama
Yeah.
happy. Don't need her mad. Well, on an unrelated subject, how are the piggies?
Yeah.
oh, is that what I
They're
see
fine.
behind you?
Yeah. Got a nice big cage of 4 guinea pigs.
I just love the pictures and stuff that y'all put out of them. They are so darn cute.
Yeah. And needy. Every time I walk, as soon as they see me walk around, they start squeaking, expecting food, which means I can't even just go to the toilet because as soon as I move, they see me and start squeaking away.
Oh
Little
wow.
buggers. They're just they're just surprised that I'm in my wife's office, because she works from home. So they're just wondering what I'm doing, and I've got no food on me. I think they're
Like as
just
soon,
confused.
yeah, like as soon as the show's over, somebody's gonna have to get fed.
Oh yeah, as soon as I move, that's it. Game's over. I'm back to sorting out their food.
Oh man, but yeah, I had to bring them up, Stacey, because to me they're just as well known as you and as Sarah because like you post them all the time and they're just adorable, just adorable.
Yeah.
So now, when
Yeah.
did you first start collecting the guinea pigs? When did y'all start that?
Well, I've never had them in my life.
Mhm.
It's my wife. My wife has had them. I think since she was a. It was a dad initially. As they were growing up, they had rabbits and guinea pigs and stuff like that. And when I started, because I come from Buckinghamshire. They live in Gloucestershire, so about 150 miles away. I started coming up here, and I saw their guinea pigs and that. And when we moved in together, for a time we didn't have them, but Sarah really missed having guinea pigs. Yes, she could go over to her dad's and see them, but she really missed them, having them. So we got a couple. We got a couple. We got 3, but then we got married, and then we went on a honeymoon. So we asked her dad to look after them while we were gone. And when we came back, she didn't have the heart to get him back off him because he loved them so much. So it was just like, right, okay, we lost those 3. And then was it a few years later, because they only lived like 3, 4 years. They can live more, but those ones didn't live that long. Then Sarah kind of decided, oh, I want my own piggies again, so we got some. And her father was getting older and iller. So I think he had about 2 left and he couldn't look after them properly. So we took those 2 back and then bought some more younger ones to run around them to keep them company. So that's how we started filling our house full of guinea pigs.
I just
So
learned something new today. I didn't realize they had such short lifespans.
I didn't either.
yeah, they can live up to 5 to 7 years, but a lot of them, because they're so small, about 2, 3 years. It's just like anything small, like squirrels. their hearts beat so quickly, their metabolism is so quick that their lives are so short, you know. So, and if there's any kind of little defect, you just don't know if they're ill because they keep on eating.
Oh,
Even when they're poor buggers, even when they're dying, they will still eat. And then until the, you know, because we're at the moment, one of the pigs is a little bit ill. So we're weighing her every week and she's losing weight, but you put some food in there and she starts eating, and you think, oh, she's fine. But is she? Or is she just doing what's
right.
natural? So, but hopefully she's all right.
I don't know. Maybe I'm part guinea pig because I just keep eating. Whether
Yeah.
I'm sick or not.
So we all.
Well, believe it or not, I'm the same. Even though I am 120 pounds soaking wet.
Yeah. You're about the
But
same size of my leg.
I was gonna say about mine too. So
y'all walking around on a pair of jacks. That's crazy. So now, when you aren't writing, what do you do to just go out and have fun? You go to the movies. You like to just go hiking, do anything like that? Is there, what do you do outside?
Oh, I'm very antisocial. I,
Aren't we all?
the trouble is with it, you know, as things are going, like everybody seems more in your face nowadays. And I just like going to the movies. And one of my bugbears when I used to go to the movies is me and my wife sit up there. And as soon as you sit down and the movie starts, somebody will get their phone out
Hmm.
and you'll see that illuminated screen. It may be far to the right, but then you can see it all the time, you know,
your
and it
attention is going that way.
yeah, and it's just you just want to throw like some peanut M&Ms at them, and so like you've got a big screen, watch the movie. But what's so impressive about your life that you can't turn your phone off? And then I just find myself getting more irritated by people.
Right.
But you know, I go out like in the winter. We go out like once a night, once a week. You know, play skittles, bit like 10-pin bowling, but only 9 pins, and they're made of wood. And the ball is only like hand size, so it can actually go through the skittles. You know, so you can just ping the ball through it, and it won't hit anything. And
Oh,
luckily, it's in a pub as well, so you can
You
drink
got
as
that
well.
plus.
yeah.
Yeah. So as the night goes on, you miss a lot more. But
So,
yeah, I just a lot of it is just like spending time because I work from home, my wife works from home, and we spend a lot of time together. We enjoy each other's company. We talk about books. We watch TV together, and yeah, it's just a good life. We're just trying to live a good life and just spend time together because you just don't know when you won't have that.
Yeah.
So, because we lost a father last year at the end of last year, and it just kind of brought it home that you've got to really spend as much time as you can with each other because you just don't know what's around the corner.
Right.
So that's what we live to. You know, we love spending time with each other, and sometimes we go out walking and just chill. And then I start talking about my books and what I want to write, and then she says, "No, you're not writing that. You're finishing that."
that's great. Okay,
But like you say,
who's the better cook?
sorry. I do all the cooking. I do all the cooking. Unfortunately, yeah, because my wife's got MS, so she has problems with heat and her hands sometimes and that. So it's
Yeah.
a lot safer for me to do all the cooking because I've got no sense, no feeling. So you know, just quite happily just bumble around. So and I got more, you know, surprising to say, I've got more energy than her because she gets fatigued very,
Yeah.
very quickly, especially working full time as well. So if that means I do all the cooking, so be it. And I do all the grocery shopping as well. But that I use that as my I'm going out and socializing. So
Okay.
when people say, "Do you go out at all?" Yes, I go out 3 times a week. Where
Yeah.
do you go? Shopping. So yeah, that's me going out to the shops early in the morning before everyone
Or
else is
anybody
awake.
else is there. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, there ain't nobody there but me and the stock boys.
exactly. You get it done a lot quicker.
You ain't lying. But yeah, it's a lot more peaceful. A lot more peaceful early in the morning. Me and
Yeah.
old people and the stock boys. Well, I'm rapidly becoming one of the old people, but whatevs. Well, guys, we're starting to get down towards the end of this thing, and I know Tony's got a lot of action going on this afternoon, stuff to get to, and I got a few things to do, but I always need to have you guys let everybody know where they can find you. So, Tony, can they go pick up your books, brother?
Amazon or Audible or iBooks. I think I'm on iBooks too now. Beyond that, I'm not sure where else they're at.
And be sure everybody, if you're not already in there, go find A.L. White's fan page on Facebook. Get joined in there so you can keep up with what he's got going on. And he's trying to get that page running a little bit hotter and harder than it had been recently. So we're going to get more folks in there so they can find out more about you. Nikki, where can everybody find you, man?
I've got a web page, the Books of Nick James. I've got a Facebook group, the Books of Nick James. There's a theme here. You can buy my books on Amazon and Audible. Obviously, not all my books are on Audible yet. And there's one book that definitely will never see the light of day on Audible ever. The Misplaced Man, that will never be done as an audio book. Because, yeah, it's just a fun book, and it's never going to be done. It's not politically correct, my wife says.
That's my favorite kind. Come on.
It's funny as hell. And my first ever book, it's like 3 novellas are pushed into one book. And if you just want a quick read, it's got multiple different characters done from their point of view all the way through. It's funny as hell, but it's fast paced, fun, and not politically correct whatsoever. So, but
all the more reason to get it right there.
Yeah.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah. Cute. Well, guys, y'all can find me on Amazon, Word Peddler magazine, or just search my name. I got a short story called Domino, based on that goofy ass cat sitting over there that keeps messing with my blinds. But you can find that there, and no, it won't be on Audible. It's not long enough to put on Audible. So come on. Well, guys, this has been a blast. Nick, as always, you're one of my favorite people to have on. I'm gonna get you back around again. When you get the next book out, be sure to get in touch with Jen Folk about a book release party, because we do that around here nowadays. So we'll get you on for that, so we can get you hyped even more and get you out in front of more people, as we always try to do. Well, guys, it has been an absolute blast. I've had so much fun here today. So for A.L. White, we just call him Tony, Nick James, aka Nick Plumridge, and me, Jack Childress, this has been Tripping Through the Stars. We will catch you guys next week. Haven't picked a guest yet, but we will soon. Talk to you guys then. Bye, everybody.